On a chilly Monday morning, the old courthouse cast a long shadow over the bustling city streets, its aged marble steps reflecting the countless stories of those who had trodden them, leading towards outcomes that reverberated through the community. Claudia Robinson, a 35-year-old African-American mother of three, ascended those steps alongside her state-assigned attorney, her fingers nervously intertwined, yet her posture resolute, a silent testament to her determination. Inside Courtroom 7B, a palpable chill hung in the air, unwarmed by the morning sun that struggled through the high windows. Claudia, clad in her finest navy blue dress, usually reserved for Sundays at church, sat with a straight back, her gaze fixed ahead though her eyes betrayed the weight of the 3 months spent in county lockup awaiting her fate. The reason for her predicament? A small, unlabeled bottle of prescription pills found in her glove compartment, which she had insisted belonged to her ailing mother. At precisely 9 a.m., Judge Richard Coleman made his entrance, his black robes trailing behind him as he took his seat. His presence was commanding, known throughout Jefferson County for his stringent rulings. Yet what was less discussed in public forums, but widely known in hushed tones, was his record of disproportionately severe sentences for minority defendants. David Peterson, a relatively young prosecutor, presented the state's case with a subdued demeanor that seemed out of character, especially for such a minor charge. His arguments for simple possession with no intent to distribute were typically countered by sentences ranging from probation to short jail stints. Yet, as he proceeded, his reluctance was evident, his usual fervor dampened as he mechanically navigated the motions of the legal process. Claudia's public defender, Mark Walters, had little in the way of resources but compensated with earnestness. He painted a vivid portrait of Claudia's life, her impeccable record, her voluntary contributions to the local food bank, and her indispensable role as the primary caregiver for her children, Michael, 14, Lisa, 11, and James, 8. Walters detailed her dual employment, mornings spent serving at a diner and evenings supervising cleaning at the city hospital, to underscore her commitment to her family and community. Your Honor, Walters' voice resonated in the courtroom. Ms. Robinson is a cornerstone of her community. The pills were her mother's medication, and while it was negligent to transport them unlabeled, this oversight does not warrant severe criminal punishment. Throughout the defense's plea, Judge Coleman's expression remained unreadable, his cold blue eyes giving nothing away as he surveyed Claudia from his elevated bench. The courtroom, with a smattering of law students and other observers awaiting their own proceedings, sensed an unusual tension in this hearing. When Claudia stood to address the court, her voice was steady, imbued with a dignified strength. Your Honor, I acknowledge my mistake, she declared, but my children need me. My mother needs me. I have learned from this error, and I assure you, you won't see me here again. After a long pause that filled the room with a thick silence, Judge Coleman finally spoke, his voice echoing a chilling finality that seemed to freeze the very air. Ms. Robinson, he began, each word deliberate, this court has encountered too many excuses and too many unfulfilled promises. The law must be upheld, and examples must be set. The ensuing silence was shattered by his next words. I hereby sentence you to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The courtroom exploded into murmurs of disbelief. Walters leapt to his feet in protest, but the bang of Coleman's gavel silenced him instantly. One more word, Mr. Walters, and you will be held in contempt. As the bailiff approached to handcuff her, Claudia stood immobile, her mind grappling with the reality of her sentence. Her subdued sobs resonated in the courtroom, capturing the stunned expressions of all present, including the prosecutor, who shuffled his papers uncomfortably, avoiding the eyes of those around him. Outside the courthouse, as dark clouds loomed ominously overhead, none could predict that this verdict would ignite a series of events that would challenge the very foundations of the city. Mayor Benjamin Hall, reviewing budget proposals in his City Hall office, was oblivious to the storm brewing until his secretary interrupted with urgent news from Channel 7 regarding a controversial sentencing. As he watched the unfolding report, his cup of coffee shattered on the floor. The televised image of Claudia Robinson's distressed face shocked Mayor Hall, not just because of the severity of the judgment, but because Claudia was his wife of 12 years. Despite his high-profile role, their marriage had been kept out of the public eye to shield their family from the political spotlight and allow Claudia to live without the constant scrutiny that came with his position. The revelation struck him profoundly. He had been unaware of her arrest, likely kept from him by Claudia to protect his career as per their long-standing agreement on privacy. Immediately springing into action, Mayor Hall canceled all his appointments for the day, his hands trembling as he ordered his secretary to connect him with District Attorney Angela Chun. As he paced his office, loosening his tie, the gravity of his next steps weighed heavily on him. He was about to expose their closely guarded secret to save his wife from an unjust life sentence, a situation that stemmed from systemic bias rather than evidence. Upon reaching Angela, without the formalities typical of their previous interactions, Mayor Hall revealed, "Angela, Claudia Robinson is my wife." The silence that followed was palpable. Angela, caught off guard, took a moment before responding, "Ben, why wasn't I aware of this? How could this have happened?" Hall explained their decision to keep their marriage private, emphasizing the current necessity to bring their relationship to light. Angela recognized the implications immediately. This wasn't just about a potential judicial error. It was about exposing a pattern of discrimination that might have been affecting cases for years. As the scandal began to unfold, Mayor Hall prepared for a press conference that would not only shock the city, but also expose the depth of prejudice within their judicial system. Simultaneously, Angela began her investigation into Judge Coleman's previous cases, looking for any evidence of racial bias or unjust sentencing practices. The community reaction was immediate and intense. Once the news broke out, social media platforms and local news stations were abuzz with discussions and debates about the implications of Claudia's sentencing. People began gathering outside the courthouse, their numbers growing as more became aware of the situation. Signs of support for Claudia and demands for judicial review filled the air, and the city braced for the potential fallout. As Mayor Hall approached the podium at the scheduled press conference, the room was packed with reporters, community leaders, and activists eager to hear his statement. He began by acknowledging his dual role as both a public official and a concerned husband. "Today, I stand before you in defense of my wife, who has been wrongfully sentenced to life imprisonment under charges that typically would have resulted in much less severe consequences. This case highlights a serious issue within our judicial system that needs immediate attention and correction." The mayor's boldness in merging his private life with his public duties resonated with many, garnering widespread support from various community groups and civic leaders. The press conference also served as a catalyst for further investigations, with other families coming forward with similar stories of disproportionate sentencing. In the days that followed, Angela worked tirelessly, uncovering several cases where Judge Coleman had handed down unusually harsh sentences to minority defendants. This pattern, now evident, pointed to deep-seated biases that required urgent address. Together with Mayor Hall, they formed a task force aimed at reviewing all cases presided over by Judge Coleman, intending to correct any injustices found. The task force's work quickly gained momentum, with each case review shedding more light on the flawed judgments and the lives they had impacted. As they prepared for the legal battles ahead, the city rallied around Mayor Hall and Claudia, their story becoming a symbol of the fight against systemic injustice. Meanwhile, in the quieter moments of reflection, Mayor Hall and Angela recognized the broader implications of their actions. They were not only fighting for Claudia's freedom, but also challenging a judicial system that had failed to protect its most vulnerable citizens. The road ahead would be difficult and fraught with political and personal risks, but both knew that the fight for justice was far more important than any individual cost. As they looked ahead, they were determined to ensure that this fight would lead to lasting changes, making their city a fairer and more just place for all its residents. This profound shift started to take shape as Mayor Hall faced the public with transparency and determination. The city watched as the couple, who had once hidden their marriage to protect their privacy and Mayor Hall's political career, now stood together publicly against a grave injustice. In this fight, their personal story became a public narrative of resilience and demand for systemic change. The uproar over Claudia's case and the scrutiny of Judge Coleman's previous rulings galvanized the community. The courthouse steps became a gathering place for vigils and protests, each day drawing larger crowds demanding not only Claudia's release, but a comprehensive reform of the judicial system. Local and national media covered these events, amplifying the message and casting a spotlight on what many saw as a critical turning point for justice in the city. Inside the courthouse, the task force worked through stacks of case files, each one reviewed under the watchful eyes of Angela Chun and her team. The patterns were undeniable and disturbing. Many other minority individuals had faced similar prejudiced rulings from Judge Coleman. Every discovery added urgency to their mission, fueling their late nights and the community's growing outcry. Angela, alongside legal experts and civil rights advocates, prepared a comprehensive report detailing the systemic biases evident in Judge Coleman's courtroom. This document, backed by data and heart-rending personal stories, became a crucial piece of evidence in the call for a formal investigation and potential disbarment of Judge Coleman. Simultaneously, Mayor Hall used his platform to advocate for broader reforms. He pushed for initiatives including mandatory bias training for all city judges and a new oversight committee to regularly review sentencing patterns across the city's courts. His proactive stance, once a political risk, now strengthened his leadership as constituents saw a mayor genuinely fighting for every citizen's right to fair treatment. As weeks turned into months, the pressure finally culminated in a hearing for Claudia's appeal. The courtroom was packed as Angela presented a compelling argument, highlighting not only the specifics of Claudia's case, but also the broader implications of Judge Coleman's history. The appeal argued for Claudia's immediate release and called for a retrial without Judge Coleman's involvement, pointing to a conflict of interest and abuse of judicial power. Outside, the crowd waited with bated breath as hours of deliberations went on. Finally, the judges emerged with a decision that would echo across the nation. Claudia's sentence was overturned, and she was ordered to be released immediately. Furthermore, a judicial review panel was convened to investigate Judge Coleman, with all his current cases being reassigned and his past rulings subject to review. Claudia's release was met with tears, cheers, and applause from the crowd outside the courthouse. Mayor Hall, who had stood by his wife every step of the way, felt a mix of relief and vindication. He embraced Claudia as she walked free, a moment captured by cameras and seen by millions, symbolizing a victory not only for one family, but for all those who had been silenced by systemic injustice. The following days saw a city transformed. Claudia's case had spurred a movement that went beyond one judge or one courtroom. Initiatives to overhaul the judicial system gained momentum, with transparent processes and accountability becoming the new standards. Mayor Hall's administration, once cautious, now openly supported these reforms, committing resources and political capital to ensure their success. This case, which started with a simple yet tragic sentencing, had grown into a landmark in the city's history, sparking dialogue and action that reshaped how justice was administered. As Claudia adjusted to her newfound freedom and resumed her role in the community, she too became an advocate for judicial reform, speaking at events and working with local leaders to ensure that the city's judicial system became a beacon of fairness and equality. Their story, a blend of personal struggle and public service, continued to inspire and drive change, reminding everyone involved of the power of courage, the importance of justice, and the transformative impact of standing together for what is right. In the end, the city found not just a resolution to a legal battle, but a renewal of its commitment to justice for all its citizens. As the city adapted to its new reality of reformed justice, Claudia and Mayor Hall became central figures in promoting transparency and accountability. The city hosted panels, workshops, and community forums, many of which Claudia spearheaded. Her firsthand experience and advocacy brought a unique and powerful perspective to the discussions. Her talks not only detailed her own ordeal, but emphasized the unseen struggles of many who remained voiceless within the system. These forums became crucial in shaping the city's approach to legal reforms. They facilitated open dialogue between the community and those in power, ensuring that the reforms were not just top-down mandates but collaborative efforts that addressed the community's needs. Angela Chun, continuing her role as the district attorney, worked closely with Claudia and the mayor, using the insights gained from these discussions to implement policies that would prevent future injustices. One significant change was the establishment of an independent oversight committee tasked with reviewing all judicial decisions for potential bias. The committee was a diverse group, including legal experts, community leaders, and even those who had previously been incarcerated, ensuring a wide range of perspectives and experiences were represented. This committee quickly became a model for other cities grappling with similar issues. The momentum from Claudia's case also inspired other municipalities to examine their judicial systems. Mayor Hall spoke at several national conferences, sharing the story of his city's challenges and triumphs. His message was clear. Change was possible with determination, transparency, and community involvement. Meanwhile, Judge Coleman faced the consequences of his actions. The Judicial Review Board, after a thorough investigation, found ample evidence of bias and misconduct. He was formally removed from the bench and disbarred, preventing him from practicing law in any capacity. This decision was a watershed moment for the city, sending a strong message that judicial misconduct would not be tolerated. As the city moved forward, Claudia found new ways to support those who had been similarly wronged. She established a nonprofit organization focused on assisting individuals appealing wrongful convictions. The organization, aptly named Justice Renewed, provided legal aid, support services, and advocacy for systemic change. Her work was challenging but fulfilling, and every success story was a reminder of why she had fought so hard for her freedom. Her efforts, along with those of Mayor Hall and Angela Chun, began to transform the city's legal landscape. Sentencing guidelines were overhauled to eliminate minimum mandatory sentences for nonviolent offenses, reducing the prison population and ensuring that sentences were fair and proportional to the crimes committed. These changes also helped to reduce racial disparities in sentencing, which had been a significant issue for decades. Education programs within prisons were expanded, providing inmates with the skills and qualifications needed to reintegrate into society successfully. Claudia often visited these programs, sharing her story and encouraging inmates to prepare for a new life outside. As years passed, the city not only saw a decrease in crime rates, but also an improvement in community relations with law enforcement and the judicial system. Trust was slowly restored, and the community felt more involved in shaping the policies that affected their lives. Mayor Hall's tenure saw him re-elected with an overwhelming majority, his leadership during the crisis cementing his reputation as a dedicated and effective leader. He and Claudia, no longer needing to hide their relationship, worked as a team both in public and private life. As Claudia looked back on the journey, from the depths of despair in a jail cell to becoming a leader in justice reform, she felt a profound sense of accomplishment and purpose. Her ordeal had sparked a movement that changed her city and inspired others across the nation. The story of Claudia, Mayor Hall, and their city became a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of resilience and advocacy. It was a reminder that even in the darkest times, with courage and unity, positive change was not just possible, but inevitable. As the sun set on another busy day, Claudia stood before a gathering at a community center, ready to tell her story once again, not just as a reminder of the past, but as a beacon for the future. Claudia's voice filled the community center, resonating with the same strength and conviction that had turned her personal tragedy into a powerful force for reform. As she spoke, the audience listened intently, moved by her passion and her profound commitment to justice. Her story was not just a narrative of suffering and redemption. It had become a rallying cry for everyone who dreamed of a fairer, more just society. In her speech, Claudia emphasized the importance of community engagement in maintaining the momentum of justice reform. She pointed out that while significant legal and procedural changes had been made, the true measure of success would be how well these changes were implemented and whether they could be sustained over time. She urged everyone to remain vigilant, to hold their leaders accountable, and to continue participating in the civic processes that shape their lives. The response was overwhelming. Young and old, People from all walks of life approached her after the talk, eager to share their stories or to ask how they could contribute to the cause. Many expressed a newfound sense of hope and a desire to be part of the ongoing efforts to ensure fairness and equity within the legal system. Inspired by Claudia's example, local universities began to offer courses on civil rights and justice reform, and high schools invited her to speak to students about the importance of civic engagement. These educational initiatives helped to cultivate a new generation of informed, motivated citizens, ready to take up the mantle of reform and activism. Meanwhile, Mayor Hall and Angela Chun continued to push for broader systemic changes. They worked with state legislators to draft new laws that would enhance judicial transparency and increase penalties for official misconduct. Their efforts were supported by data and research provided by Justice Renewed, which had become a respected think tank on matters of criminal justice reform. Angela, in her capacity as district attorney, set up an accountability unit within her office, tasked with reviewing prosecutorial conduct and ensuring that all prosecutions were carried out fairly and without bias. This unit also served as a model for other jurisdictions, several of which adopted similar measures in response to growing public demand for accountability in law enforcement and prosecution. The changes in the city had a ripple effect, influencing neighboring communities and even shaping national discussions on justice reform. Claudia and Mayor Hall were often invited to speak at national conferences, where they shared their insights and experiences. Their story of transformation provided a blueprint for other cities grappling with similar issues, and their success gave hope to those who felt overwhelmed by the challenges of reform. As the years passed, the city became known not just for its vibrant culture and strong economy, but also as a center of justice and fairness. Tourists and scholars came not only to enjoy its amenities, but also to learn from its experiences and to take back lessons to their own communities. Claudia, once a victim of a deeply flawed system, had become one of its most effective reformers. Her work continued to inspire and impact lives far beyond her city's borders. Each speaking engagement, each policy consultation, and each workshop led by her team contributed to a broader national movement towards justice that was more inclusive and more equitable. At home, Claudia and Mayor Hall found joy not only in their public roles, but also in the life they built together openly. Their evenings were often spent in quiet reflection or in planning their next steps, always mindful of the responsibilities they bore. Their children, now grown, took pride in their parents' accomplishments and were themselves advocates for civic engagement and justice, often volunteering for initiatives that supported their mother's organization. As the sun set on another year, Claudia stood on the balcony of their home, looking out over the city she had helped transform. The challenges were many, but the victories were sweet and the work deeply fulfilling. With Mayor Hall by her side, she felt a profound gratitude for the journey they had undertaken together. They had faced adversity with courage, fought injustice with tenacity, and built hope where there was once despair. Their love and partnership, strengthened by trials and triumphs, were a testament to the belief that with faith, resilience, and love, anything was possible. The lights of the city twinkled below as a gentle breeze whispered through the streets, carrying with it the echoes of change and progress. Claudia and Mayor Hall, standing together, could see the tangible results of their efforts in the community that thrived around them. Schools, community centers, and new businesses flourished, each a beacon of the community's potential when supported by a just and equitable system. Their conversations often turned to the future, discussing initiatives that could further cement the city's reputation as a model of justice reform. They dreamed of a scholarship fund for students pursuing careers in public service, particularly those who wanted to work in criminal justice reform. Claudia also envisioned expanding Justice Renewed into a national network, connecting local organizations across the country to share resources, strategies, and success stories. As the months turned into years, these visions slowly took shape. The Scholarship Fund was launched with a significant endowment from several local philanthropists who had been inspired by Claudia's advocacy. The fund aimed to alleviate the financial burdens of higher education for promising students from underrepresented communities, providing them not only with tuition assistance, but also with internships and mentorship opportunities. Meanwhile, The national network of Justice Renewed became a reality, sparking new initiatives and reforms across the country. Each chapter focused on issues specific to its community, but all shared the same goals: to reduce wrongful convictions, to ensure fair sentencing, and to improve the treatment of incarcerated individuals. Claudia's tireless work and profound impact did not go unnoticed. Awards and recognitions began to accumulate, though she accepted them with humility, always redirecting the focus back to the cause and the many people who continued to suffer from systemic injustices. Her dedication was a constant reminder that much work remained to be done. During this time, Mayor Hall faced his own set of challenges and opportunities. The success of their local reforms had catapulted him into the national spotlight, and he was often mentioned as a potential candidate for higher office. While flattered, he remained ambivalent, knowing such a decision would impact not just his career, but also his family and the community he had sworn to serve. His discussions with Claudia were deep and thoughtful, weighing the potential benefits against the personal costs. As they deliberated their future, the city continued to grow and evolve. The community's engagement in civic activities reached new heights, with voter turnout and participation in public meetings significantly higher than national averages. This civic awakening was perhaps one of the most gratifying outcomes for Claudia and Mayor Hall. It reflected a shift in mindset from apathy and distrust to enthusiasm and ownership over the communal direction. Life at home was a peaceful contrast to their public endeavors. Their children, inspired by their parents, pursued various paths of service: law, education, and nonprofit management, each contributing to the societal good in their own way. Family dinners were lively affairs, filled with debates and discussions about politics, philosophy, and justice. On quiet evenings, Claudia and Mayor Hall liked to revisit the early days of their struggle, reflecting on how far they had come. They remembered the uncertainties and the challenges, the setbacks and the victories. These memories served not only as a reminder of their resilience, but also as a beacon for continued effort. They knew that reform was an ongoing battle, one that required constant vigilance and renewal. But together, they had witnessed the profound impact of committed leadership and community collaboration. They had seen how advocacy and action could reshape not just laws but lives. As they looked forward to the next chapters of their lives and careers, Claudia and Mayor Hall remained committed to their city and to each other, fortified by a love that had endured the fiercest of trials. Their partnership had not only survived but thrived, a testament to their shared values and mutual respect. In the end, their journey was not just about the legal battles fought or the policies changed. It was about the hearts and minds won, the community uplifted, and the enduring belief that justice, once a distant dream, could be a tangible reality for all. Claudia and Mayor Hall's vision for a just society continued to unfold, driven by a blend of shared dreams and practical initiatives. Each program they launched was infused with the lessons learned from their own struggles and triumphs. As Claudia watched her ideas take root across the nation, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment and responsibility. It was a testament to the power of resilience and advocacy, a belief that had been honed in the darkest of times and now shone brightly as a beacon for others. The network of Justice Renewed chapters across the country became centers of reform and innovation. Each chapter, while autonomous in addressing local issues, upheld the core values Claudia had instilled: fairness, transparency, and community engagement. They became hubs where citizens could learn about their rights, where injustices could be challenged, and where voices that had once been silenced were now heard loud and clear. Back in their home city, Mayor Hall focused on fortifying the bonds between the community and the local government. He initiated regular town hall meetings where citizens could speak openly with their elected officials, fostering a transparent dialogue that had been absent in years past. These meetings often turned into brainstorming sessions, where community-driven solutions to various issues were proposed and debated. Meanwhile, Claudia's role as a speaker and advocate took her to other cities and communities, where she shared her story and the successful reforms of her hometown. Her speeches were powerful, often leaving audiences inspired and motivated to take action in their own communities. Her message was clear. Change was not only necessary, but achievable with persistence and collaboration. As the reforms continued to yield positive results, other cities began to replicate their model. Claudia and Mayor Hall's efforts had sparked a movement that spread beyond their expectations, influencing policy decisions at state and national levels. Their work was cited in legislative sessions, used as a blueprint in reform committees, and studied in academic papers. The success of their initiatives also brought new challenges. With the national spotlight came scrutiny and criticism from those who resisted change. But Claudia and Mayor Hall, seasoned by their years of struggle, met these challenges with the same determination and grace that had guided their earlier efforts. They engaged their critics, listened to their concerns, and sought to find common ground, all the while standing firm on the principles of justice and equity. At home, their partnership continued to be a source of strength and stability. Their evenings together were a cherished respite from their public roles, filled with quiet conversations and plans for the future. They continued to support each other's endeavors, celebrating each victory and learning from every setback. Their children, now young adults, found their paths influenced by their parents' legacy. They engaged in various aspects of civic and social justice work, each contributing in their way to the ongoing fight for a fairer society. The family's commitment to public service was a powerful, unifying bond, a legacy passed down with pride and hope. As years passed, Claudia and Mayor Hall began to consider their future and the legacy they wanted to leave. Mayor Hall, after several successful terms, decided not to seek re-election, choosing instead to focus on a new initiative that would mentor young leaders aspiring to enter public service. Claudia, meanwhile, decided to document her journey and the lessons learned along the way in a book, hoping to inspire others to take up the mantle of reform. Their story, a blend of love, resilience, and relentless advocacy, continued to resonate with people far beyond their city's borders. They had shown that with enough determination and heart, it was possible to challenge the status quo and effect meaningful, lasting change. Their lives had become not just a testament to what they had achieved, but a message of encouragement to others that, indeed, every effort counts, and no one is too small to make a difference. As the years gently turned, Claudia and Mayor Hall embraced their new roles with the same fervor and commitment that had defined their earlier public service. Claudia's book became a bestseller, not only in their own country, but internationally, serving as both a memoir and a manual for civic engagement and reform. It detailed not just their battles and victories, but also offered guidance and strategies for others to effect change in their own communities. The book tours and speaking engagements that followed allowed Claudia to spread her message even wider, inspiring a new generation of activists and reformers. Mayor Hall's mentorship program, meanwhile, quickly gained a reputation for its depth and effectiveness. It attracted young people from diverse backgrounds, each eager to learn from one of the most respected figures in recent political history. The program wasn't just about politics. It was about leadership, ethics, and the responsibilities of holding public office. It emphasized the importance of serving with integrity and the impact thoughtful policymaking can have on community development. Back at home, their city continued to thrive under the new leadership that carried forward the legacy of transparency and community collaboration that Claudia and Mayor Hall had instilled. The reforms they had initiated years ago had become deeply ingrained in the city's operations, serving as a model for others and a testament to the lasting impact of committed leadership. Their personal life flourished too. With more time at home, Claudia and Mayor Hall enjoyed long evenings together, often spent in their garden, a project that had started as a small flower bed and had grown into a lush haven. These moments of quiet reflection and companionship were their sanctuary, a cherished contrast to their years of relentless public service. Their children, inspired by their parents' legacy, continued to make their mark in various fields. One became a lawyer specializing in civil rights, another a teacher who integrated social justice into her curriculum, and the youngest worked for a nonprofit focused on housing equity. Each, in their way, continued the family's commitment to service, drawing on the lessons they had learned from their parents about the power of dedication and the importance of fairness. As Claudia and Mayor Hall looked towards the future, they planned to establish a foundation that would support initiatives promoting justice and equity across the country. The foundation would also provide scholarships for underprivileged youth and grants for small community projects, extending their impact even further. Their influence extended beyond their immediate community. They were often consulted by national and international bodies on issues of justice reform, community engagement, and leadership. Their advice and expertise were sought after in panels, committees, and forums where the future of public policy and civic engagement were debated. Even in semi-retirement, Claudia and Mayor Hall found themselves as busy as ever. But it was a fulfilling busy, filled with the joy of seeing the seeds they had planted years ago now blossoming into sustainable change. They remained active in their community, often attending local events, supporting local businesses, and participating in community projects. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset from their garden, reflecting on the years and the changes both personal and public, Mayor Hall took Claudia's hand and said, "Look at what we've managed to do together." Claudia smiled, squeezing his hand, her eyes reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. "Yes," she replied, "it's been quite a journey. But look at the road ahead. Still so much to do. So much potential." Together, they looked out over the city they had served, proud of the past but eager for the future, knowing that their journey of service was far from over, and their legacy of reform and justice would continue, driven by new hands but guided by their enduring vision. The golden twilight gave way to a starry night, emblematic of the transition Claudia and Mayor Hall were experiencing in their lives. As they ventured further into their roles as mentors and advocates on a broader stage, their commitment to sparking change never waned. The foundation they established became not just a source of funding, but a beacon of innovation and social justice, attracting thinkers, activists, and leaders who shared their vision of a fairer world. Their efforts were increasingly recognized on the global stage. Claudia was invited to speak at international forums, where she shared insights from their successful reforms and how these could be adapted to different legal and cultural contexts around the world. Her articulate speeches and compelling narrative made her a respected figure in international human rights circles. Mayor Hall, on the other hand, focused on expanding his mentorship program to include a fellowship component, inviting young leaders from around the world to spend time in their city, learning from its successes and failures. This cross-pollination of ideas and practices fostered a rich dialogue among emerging leaders, enriched by diverse perspectives and shared challenges. Meanwhile, back in their city, the foundation sponsored community initiatives that range from arts programs designed to provide young people with creative outlets and voices, to urban agriculture projects that transformed vacant lots into community gardens, providing both food and a sense of community ownership. Each project was a thread in the larger fabric of community resilience and empowerment that Claudia and Mayor Hall had envisioned. Their personal lives were equally fulfilling. Their home became a gathering place for family, friends, and colleagues, where lively discussions took place over meals prepared in their expansive kitchen. Their children, now fully engaged in their careers, often brought home friends and colleagues, adding to the vibrant, intellectual environment. Discussions range from the impact of policy on everyday lives to the latest in cultural developments, reflecting the family's wide-ranging interests and commitments. Claudia's book was updated with new chapters, reflecting ongoing developments in justice reform and her own evolving perspectives. The book served as a critical educational tool, used in universities and advocacy training programs, helping to shape the curriculum of the next generation of social justice leaders. As the years passed, Claudia and Mayor Hall occasionally stepped back from their whirlwind schedule to reflect on their journey. They had witnessed profound transformations, not just within their city but globally, as networks formed and reforms took root. Yet, they were also acutely aware of the continuing challenges and struggles faced by many communities worldwide. This awareness fueled their ongoing commitment and drove them to keep working, even as they planned for a time when they might step back even further. The couple also began to document their journey in a more personal way, collaborating on a series of essays that explored the interplay between public service and personal commitment. These essays were intimate, providing insights into how their shared life's work had influenced their relationship and personal philosophies. The collection was intended not just for public consumption, but as a legacy for their grandchildren, encapsulating the values of empathy, service, and integrity they hoped to pass down. In their golden years, Claudia and Mayor Hall saw their city continue to evolve under the leadership of those they had mentored. They took great pride in seeing former protégés assume leadership roles, bringing new ideas and continuing the work of reform. The city's ongoing transformation was a living testament to their life's work, a work that was never just about changing laws, but about changing the very fabric of society, weaving justice, equity, and community into every aspect. Their legacy was not just in the structures they helped build or the policies they helped change, but in the vibrant community that thrived, the young leaders who continued to push for change, and the global dialogue they helped inspire. As they walked through their city, seeing the tangible results of their efforts, they felt a profound satisfaction, knowing that they had ignited sparks that would burn brightly, fueling progress and hope well into the future. As the years continued to unfold, Claudia and Mayor Hall often found themselves reflecting on the broader impact of their work, witnessing its ripples spread through communities both near and far. They enjoyed their less demanding schedules, which allowed for more frequent visits with their children and grandchildren, fostering a new generation imbued with a sense of duty and a passion for justice. Their grandchildren, curious and energetic, were frequent visitors at their home, where Claudia and Mayor Hall shared stories of their many battles and victories. These weren't just bedtime stories. They were lessons in courage, perseverance, and the importance of standing up for what is right. Claudia, with her knack for storytelling, made the narratives come alive, instilling in the young minds a deep respect for the past and a strong motivation to contribute positively to the future. The foundation that Claudia and Mayor Hall had established continued to grow, branching out into new areas such as technology access and underserved communities and initiatives supporting mental health. Each new program was a thread in the vast tapestry of their commitment to social justice, designed to uplift, support, and empower. Simultaneously, the international dialogues that Claudia had sparked turned into robust partnerships, creating a network of cities worldwide committed to sharing strategies and successes in governance and social equity. These partnerships culminated in annual conferences, hosted by different cities around the globe, where leaders, activists, and citizens could come together to learn from one another. Back at home, the city they had served so diligently was flourishing under the guidance of leaders who had been mentored by Claudia and Mayor Hall. The changes they had initiated had taken root deeply enough that they continued to grow and evolve independently, a testament to the sustainability of thoughtful, community-focused leadership. In their quieter moments, Claudia and Mayor Hall spent time in their garden, which had become a sanctuary over the years. Here, surrounded by the blooms and the trees they had planted together, they discussed new ideas and planned future projects, never fully stepping away from the work of reform. Their commitment was a constant, as enduring as the garden they tended together. Mayor Hall, with his keen interest in history, began to compile archives of their work, intending to donate them to a local university. He believed that the documents, letters, and artifacts of their many campaigns and initiatives would be valuable resources for students and researchers interested in social justice and political science. Claudia, ever the advocate, continued to write and speak publicly, although less frequently than before. Her new writings reflected a more philosophical tone, exploring the intersections of ethics, governance, and humanity. She became a revered figure in academic circles, her articles and books used as essential texts in university courses on civil rights and public administration. As they advanced in age, Claudia and Mayor Hall began to consider more seriously the legacy they were leaving behind. They established scholarships for young leaders committed to social justice and funded research grants for innovative approaches to public policy. Their vision was clear: to nurture a future where community welfare and justice were priorities, guided by empathy and informed by a deep understanding of history and human behavior. Their lives, intertwined with their city's history, had become a beacon of hope and a blueprint for change. Their story was not just their own, but belonged to everyone who had been touched by their work, a narrative of collective effort and shared successes. In their golden years, Claudia and Mayor Hall witnessed the flowering of the seeds they had planted, a flourishing that reached beyond geographic and generational boundaries. Their partnership, both personal and professional, had shaped a legacy that would endure, driven by a shared belief in the power of committed individuals to effect real and lasting change. The journey they had embarked on together had taught them about the power of unity, the importance of persistence, and the enduring impact of nurturing hope and justice in a world that continually needed both. In the quiet of their later years, Claudia and Mayor Hall's home was often filled with the vibrant energy of visiting scholars, young activists, and community leaders, each eager to draw on the couple's vast reservoir of knowledge and experience. The living room, lined with shelves brimming with awards, books, and mementos from decades of service, served as a cozy venue for mentoring sessions and informal gatherings. Here, Claudia and the mayor shared not only advice, but also listened intently to new ideas and perspectives, nurturing and shaping the next wave of social justice initiatives. Their conversations often veered into discussions on how to leverage technology to foster greater civic engagement, or strategies to address emerging global challenges like climate change and migration, reflecting their continued engagement with current issues. Despite stepping back from day-to-day operations, they remained deeply connected to the pulse of activism, their insights sharpening the tools of those who came after them. As the impact of their work continued to resonate across the globe, Claudia and Mayor Hall found joy in seeing their foundational efforts evolve into movements that adapted to the needs and challenges of the times. Their model of inclusive, community-based change was being replicated and adapted in cities and towns far from their own, each iteration a testament to the couple's lifelong commitment to justice and equity. Outside of their public engagements, Claudia and Mayor Hall cherished the growing time they could spend with family. Their home was a hub of activity, especially during holidays and family celebrations, when their children and grandchildren, along with extended family and close friends, gathered around the large dining table that had hosted countless strategy meetings and campaign plans years before. The stories shared at these gatherings were a mix of personal and political, humorous and heartfelt, reflecting the blended nature of their lives. Their grandchildren, especially, were captivated by tales of their grandparents' early struggles and victories, each story imbued with lessons about perseverance, moral courage, and the importance of community. Encouraged by their grandparents' legacy, the younger Halls began to carve out their own paths in various spheres of influence, from local government and nonprofit leadership to academia and social entrepreneurship. Claudia and the mayor took great pride in seeing their values live on through the actions and achievements of their descendants. Moreover, Claudia took it upon herself to compile a more personal account of their journey, working on a memoir that would later serve as a crucial historical document. Her writings offered an intimate glimpse into the emotional and ethical foundations of their work, providing future generations with a roadmap of the principles and passions that guided their decisions. The memoir also served as a reflective exercise for Claudia, allowing her to revisit the moments that had defined their lives and to document the evolution of their partnership and its impact on their professional endeavors. Mayor Hall, ever supportive, contributed his own insights and memories, making the memoir a joint project that symbolized their lifelong partnership. As they aged, their commitment to social justice never waned. Even as their physical presence at events became less frequent, their influence endured through the projects they had initiated, the people they had mentored, and the policies they had helped to shape. Their legacy was not static, but dynamic, continuing to grow and adapt just as they had always hoped. In the tranquility of their garden, amidst flowers and trees that had witnessed the ebb and flow of decades, Claudia and Mayor Hall often reflected on the journey they had undertaken together. They talked about the changes they had seen and those they hoped to see, the continuing struggles for justice around the world, and the role of new generations in carrying forward the torch. Their conversations, sometimes deep into the evening, were testament to a shared belief that their work was far from finished, that their ideas and ideals would continue to inspire action and change. It was these moments, quiet yet powerful, that underscored the enduring impact of their lives, a legacy defined not just by what they had achieved, but by the ongoing work they had inspired, a true testament to their life's commitment to justice, equality, and the power of human compassion. Their legacy, woven through countless lives and initiatives, continued to thrive as Claudia and Mayor Hall advanced in age. The foundation they had established grew in scope and influence, creating programs that not only addressed immediate social inequities, but also prepared future leaders to tackle the evolving challenges of their times. Workshops, scholarships, and fellowships developed under the foundation's umbrella focused on equipping young people with the tools necessary for effective leadership, rooted in the principles of fairness and community engagement that Claudia and Mayor Hall had championed throughout their careers. As technology continued to shape the landscape of activism, the foundation also ventured into digital realms, creating online platforms that allowed activists from around the world to connect, share strategies, and mobilize more effectively. These digital initiatives enabled the foundation to reach a broader audience, making its resources and networks accessible to a global community of reformers. Claudia and Mayor Hall also remained actively involved in advising and guiding these programs, though they increasingly entrusted the day-to-day management to a dedicated team of professionals. They were frequent guests at the foundation's events, where they continued to inspire attendees with their unwavering commitment and insightful perspectives. In their personal time, they found solace and joy in the continued company of family and friends. Their home remained a place of gathering, where old and new stories intersected, and where the laughter of their grandchildren filled the air. These moments of personal joy were cherished all the more amidst the busy backdrop of their ongoing advocacy efforts. Their influence reached even into the realm of public policy, where Claudia's writings and the Foundation's findings often informed debates and legislation. Their combined efforts helped shape laws and policies that aim to create more equitable systems within their own country and beyond. Despite their advancing years, Claudia and Mayor Hall kept a keen eye on international developments, particularly in regions where justice reforms were desperately needed but resources and support were scarce. They leveraged their foundation to create partnerships with international NGOs and governmental agencies to extend their reach to these areas, providing expertise and financial support to local movements. As they reflected on these global connections, they planned smaller, more intimate gatherings with international leaders and activists who came to seek their counsel. These sessions, often held in the serene setting of their garden, were marked by deep discussions about global trends, strategies for peace and justice, and the sharing of lessons learned from decades of public service. Claudia, with her ever-sharp pen, continued to document these discussions and the evolution of their work, contributing articles and opinion pieces to major publications. Her writings not only captured the essence of their ongoing work, but also explored the broader implications of their efforts on international human rights and global peace initiatives. The legacy of Claudia and Mayor Hall, enriched by each new project and partnership, became a living testament to the power of committed leadership and the impact of a life dedicated to the service of humanity. Their story, interwoven with the many they had helped along the way, continued to inspire and influence, a narrative not of an ending, but of a vibrant, ongoing journey. As they sat together watching another sunset, surrounded by the thriving garden they had nurtured together, they spoke of plans for the future with the same optimism and determination that had guided them through decades of service. Their conversations were a powerful reminder that while their steps might have slowed, their vision and their hopes for a better world remained as clear and compelling as ever. The work they had begun together would continue, carried forward not just by those they had directly influenced, but also by countless others who shared their commitment to a just, equitable world. Their legacy was secure, a foundation built on justice and compassion, extending into the future with unwavering hope and relentless pursuit of a better tomorrow. As the years progressed, Claudia and Mayor Hall's foundation evolved into a beacon of hope and change, embodying their lifetime commitment to social justice. With each new initiative and partnership, they demonstrated how deeply entrenched values could influence not just local but also global communities, fostering environments where dialogue, understanding, and cooperation were prioritized. The impact of their work became a prominent feature in the curriculum of universities and leadership seminars worldwide. Case studies on their methods of community engagement and participatory governance were taught to students eager to learn how to implement similar changes in their own regions. The foundation also started an annual symposium, attracting thinkers, politicians, and activists from across the globe to discuss pressing issues and share innovative solutions. As part of their ongoing mission, Claudia and Mayor Hall initiated a special program focused on environmental justice, linking it to social equity, a cause close to their hearts given the growing concerns over climate change and its disproportionate impact on marginalized communities. This new focus led to the development of green spaces in urban areas, promotion of sustainable practices in local governments, and support for grassroots movements advocating for policy changes related to environmental health and safety. Their home, often filled with grandchildren and visitors, became a model of sustainability, equipped with solar panels, a rainwater collection system, and a community-shared garden. These personal implementations were a testament to their belief in living the principles they advocated for. Their lifestyle and home became yet another teaching tool, a practical demonstration of their commitment to a sustainable future. Claudia's memoir was eventually published, offering an in-depth look at their lives, the obstacles they had overcome, and the victories they had celebrated. The book was more than a personal recount. It was a manual on how resilience, paired with a deep love for community, could drive significant change. It quickly became recommended reading for anyone interested in public service or social change, providing practical advice and profound insights. In their quieter moments, Claudia and Mayor Hall enjoyed reflecting on the unexpected paths their lives had taken. From their early days of grassroots activism to their transformative years in public office, each phase of their journey was marked by a deepening of their commitment to justice and equality. They often shared these reflections during interviews and guest lectures, always emphasizing the importance of adaptability and lifelong learning. As they advanced in age, they began to delegate more responsibilities to trusted leaders within the foundation, ensuring that their work would continue without interruption. They spent more time mentoring and less time directing, confident in the sustainability of the structures and networks they had helped establish. The legacy of Claudia and Mayor Hall extended beyond the visible accomplishments, the programs launched, the policies influenced, or the buildings named in their honor. It was most profoundly seen in the lives they had touched, the community leaders they had inspired, and the ongoing movements they had galvanized. Their story was not just one of success, but one of inspiring others to action, a true measure of their life's work. Even as they contemplated the future, Claudia and Mayor Hall remained active in the foundation's planning and execution of new projects. They were particularly interested in technology's role in social justice, advocating for increased access to digital resources in underserved communities and promoting online platforms as tools for civic engagement and education. Their golden years were rich with the joy of seeing their long-term projects bear fruit, and their commitment to their community was as strong as ever. Each day brought new challenges, but also new opportunities to make a difference, a mantra that had guided their entire careers. As they sat together in their garden, surrounded by the tangible results of their life's work, they felt a profound satisfaction in knowing that their journey together had not only changed the world in myriad ways, but would continue to inspire and impact generations to come. Years slipped by gently for Claudia and Mayor Hall, their lives a testimony to the enduring power of committed service. With each new day, their garden, once just patches of soil, stood as a lush symbol of growth and renewal, mirroring the societal changes they had nurtured. This garden, teeming with life, attracted not just birds and bees, but also people from all walks of life, seeking advice and inspiration from the couple whose lives had blossomed into a legacy of change. The foundation they had built continued to drive forward, now under the guidance of a passionate team that Claudia and Mayor Hall had carefully chosen and mentored. These leaders, infused with the couple's ethos, expanded the foundation's reach by initiating projects that tackled emerging social issues, such as digital divide and access to healthcare, ensuring that the foundation remained at the forefront of advocacy and change. Claudia, despite her advancing years, kept a keen eye on the foundation's operations. She frequently visited the various programs, her presence a comforting and inspiring sight for the staff and beneficiaries alike. Her interactions were always heartfelt. She listened intently, spoke encouragingly, and shared stories that bridged generations of activism. Meanwhile, Mayor Hall found a new passion in documenting the intertwined history of their city's development and their initiatives. He spent hours in his study, surrounded by piles of papers, photographs, and digital records, compiling a historical narrative that he hoped would offer future leaders insight into the complexities of sustainable community change. His work was meticulous and driven by a desire to leave behind a blueprint that could help others replicate their success in different contexts. Their personal legacy was also visible in the vibrant careers of their children and grandchildren, who had absorbed the couple's values and were now applying them in various fields, from law and politics to education and the arts. Each family gathering was a celebration of shared ideals, with discussions often revolving around ways to contribute positively to their communities and beyond. Claudia's health, however, began to demand more attention, and it became common for the couple to spend quieter days at home. During these slower-paced times, they found joy in simple pleasures, reading together in their sunlit living room, watching old films that reminded them of their youth, and enjoying long meals with friends and family. Each moment was cherished, each memory a treasure. As Mayor Hall's historical project neared completion, he decided to present it first to their local community. The launch event was held at the city library, where community leaders, residents, and scholars gathered to celebrate the release of his book, titled Seeds of Change. The book was an instant success, lauded for its comprehensive detail and the personal touch that only someone deeply involved in the city's transformation could provide. At the book launch, Claudia spoke proudly of her husband's work, her voice strong despite her frailty. She talked about the importance of understanding history to build a better future and praised her husband for his dedication to preserving their shared journey. The audience was moved, many touched by the couple's unwavering dedication to their city and to each other. The event was a beautiful summary of their life's work, encapsulating the growth, challenges, and triumphs that had defined their decades of public service. It was a vivid reminder of how far they had come and how much they had accomplished together. In the years that followed, Claudia and Mayor Hall continued to enjoy their days, surrounded by the community they loved, the garden they had nurtured, and the family they cherished. Their lives had been a series of chapters filled with relentless advocacy, profound love, and unwavering commitment to justice. As they looked back on their journey, they did so with no regrets, knowing they had given their all to the causes they believed in and to each other, crafting a legacy that would inspire generations to come. Their love, partnership, and dedication had indeed changed the world, one thoughtful step at a time, and would continue to do so long into the future. At the highly anticipated book launch of Mayor Hall's Seeds of Change, the community gathered, eager to dive into the history that had shaped their city. The event, filled with familiar faces, brimmed with a warm atmosphere until an unexpected guest arrived. Jason Vickers, a prominent developer known for his controversial stance on urban development, which often clashed with the community-centric initiatives that Claudia and Mayor Hall had championed. As Jason made his way through the crowd, whispers followed him, tension threading through the air. He approached the podium unexpectedly after Claudia's speech, requesting a moment to speak. His presence was a surprise to everyone, including Claudia and Mayor Hall, who looked on with wary eyes. Jason began to critique the approach documented in Mayor Hall's book, arguing that while community efforts were commendable, they were not sufficient to propel the city into economic prosperity. His words stirred a murmur among the crowd, some nodding in agreement, while others looked visibly upset. Mayor Hall, sensing the rising tension, stepped forward to address Jason's points. He acknowledged the need for economic growth, but emphasized that it should not come at the cost of the community's well-being. The debate intensified, capturing the audience's full attention, each word exchanged adding to the drama unfolding. Just as the discussion reached its peak, Claudia stood up, her frailty forgotten, driven by a surge of strength fueled by years of advocacy. She proposed a public debate to be held in 1 month, inviting Jason and other city leaders to discuss and explore how economic growth and community values could coexist in harmony. The proposal was met with applause from the crowd, eager for a resolution to this unexpected confrontation. In the weeks leading up to the debate, the city was abuzz with anticipation. Community meetings were held, opinions were voiced, and strategies were drawn. Claudia and Mayor Hall spent their days meeting with residents, gathering input, and preparing for what was to become a significant event in the city's history. The day of the debate arrived, and the community center was packed, the air thick with tension and expectation. The debate kicked off with Jason presenting his vision for a new multi-use development project, promising economic benefits and job creation. Claudia and Mayor Hall countered with a presentation on sustainable development, showcasing successful models from other cities that had boosted the economy without sacrificing community interests. As the debate unfolded, it became clear that the stakes were higher than just the future of one development project. It was about the direction in which the city would head. Claudia, with her commanding presence, bridged the gap between the past and the present, reminding everyone of the city's roots and the importance of preserving its unique character. The climax of the debate came when a young woman from the audience, inspired by Claudia's words, asked a poignant question about the legacy the current residents would leave for future generations. Her question resonated with the crowd, turning the tide of the debate. People began to see that the integration of economic growth and community health was not only possible, but necessary. In the end, Jason conceded that his project could be modified to include more community spaces and environmentally friendly practices. The debate concluded with a standing ovation for Claudia, whose leadership had once again proven pivotal in steering the city towards a unified vision. As the crowd dispersed, the sense of accomplishment was palpable. Claudia and Mayor Hall walked home hand in hand, reflecting on the evening's events. They had faced a significant challenge, but together, they had turned it into an opportunity for growth and unity. Their journey continued, each challenge met with resilience, each victory adding to their enduring legacy. The story of their life's work, filled with unexpected twists and profound impacts, was far from over. In the weeks following the spirited debate, the modified development project proposed by Jason Vickers began to take shape, promising to blend economic growth with the community-focused initiatives championed by Claudia and Mayor Hall. However, just as the city started to buzz with optimism, a new crisis emerged. The project's main investor suddenly pulled out, citing unexpected financial troubles, leaving the project's future in jeopardy. The news spread quickly, causing a ripple of concern throughout the city. Speculation and rumors filled the airwaves and local coffee shops. The community that had just started to see a common future in Jason's revised project felt betrayed and anxious about the impending economic impact. Claudia, sensing the rising fear, called for a meeting with Jason and other city leaders to discuss the crisis and explore alternative solutions. During this tense meeting, Claudia proposed an innovative approach, a community-based funding model that would allow local residents and businesses to invest in the project, turning it into a truly communal enterprise. Her proposal was met with skepticism by some, but Jason, influenced by the recent debate and the strong community spirit it had fostered, decided to support it. Together, they launched a campaign to raise funds for the project, reaching out to local businesses, residents, and even schools to invest in their city's future. Claudia and Mayor Hall worked tirelessly, speaking at events and meetings to drum up support. The campaign gained momentum, mirroring the energy of past community mobilizations that the couple had led. Just as the campaign neared its financial goal, another unexpected challenge arose. The city's planning commission put a hold on the project, citing zoning issues that had been previously overlooked. The community's frustration grew, as did tensions around the project that many now had a personal stake in. Claudia, however, saw this as an opportunity to further enhance the project's design to better reflect the community's values and needs. She organized workshops and forums, inviting city planners, residents, and experts to collaboratively redesign the project. These sessions turned into vibrant brainstorming meetings where people from all walks of life contributed ideas, from green spaces and public art installations to affordable housing units. The redesign project not only resolved the zoning issues but also transformed it into a model for future developments, emphasizing sustainability and community benefits over mere economic gains. The final approval meeting for the project became a citywide event, attended by hundreds. When the commission unanimously approved the new design, the room erupted in cheers. It was a victory not just for the project, but for the city itself, proving that even in the face of adversity, a community united could overcome significant challenges. Following this triumph, Claudia and Mayor Hall felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had witnessed their city come together to save a pivotal project and, in the process, knit a tighter community fabric. Their foundation set up a new initiative to document and replicate the successful community funding model in other projects, both within and outside the city. As they walked through the city streets, now bustling with the new development's construction, Claudia and Mayor Hall saw the tangible results of their lifelong commitment to fostering a community that could face any challenge. They knew their work would continue, driven by the community's energy and resilience, ready to meet future challenges with the same spirit and unity. Their legacy was alive in the streets, in the people, and in the vibrant community they had helped to build and strengthen. As the construction of the newly designed community project progressed, Claudia and Mayor Hall relished in the community's palpable enthusiasm and involvement. However, their triumph was soon clouded by a surprising turn of events when a long-buried environmental report surfaced, revealing potential risks associated with the site. Risks that could jeopardize not only the project, but the health of the entire community. The revelation struck like a bolt from the blue, halting construction and igniting a whirlwind of media attention and public outcry. Many felt betrayed, questioning how such crucial information could have been overlooked. Amidst the growing turmoil, Claudia and Mayor Hall faced one of the toughest challenges yet to their legacy and the trust they had spent decades building. Refusing to let this setback dismantle their hard-earned progress, Claudia spearheaded an immediate investigation into the oversight, promising transparency and accountability. With her steadfast resolve, she convened a panel of environmental experts, community leaders, and government officials to assess the report's findings and determine the next steps. As the community waited anxiously, Claudia and Mayor Hall worked behind the scenes, navigating complex negotiations between environmental agencies, health experts, and the community. After intense discussions and several sleepless nights, Claudia announced a comprehensive plan to mitigate the environmental risks. This plan not only addressed the immediate concerns, but also established stricter oversight protocols for future projects. The public meeting where Claudia presented the mitigation plan was packed, the atmosphere charged with a mix of apprehension and hope. As she detailed the steps of the plan, her voice firm and reassuring, the crowd listened intently, their response a mixture of skepticism and relief. By the end of her presentation, the community's response shifted noticeably, with many expressing cautious optimism, inspired by Claudia's unwavering commitment to rectifying the mistake. With the community's reluctant approval, work resumed, but under strict new guidelines and with ongoing monitoring. The project, once a symbol of progress, now also served as a lesson in the importance of vigilance and responsibility in community planning. As the project neared completion, the city planned a grand opening ceremony, but just days before the event, Mayor Hall suffered a mild heart attack, sending shockwaves through the community and leaving Claudia to face the public event alone. While Mayor Hall's condition stabilized quickly, the incident was a stark reminder of the personal toll their years of service had taken. On the day of the ceremony, Claudia stood before the community, her resolve clear despite the personal challenges. She spoke not only to celebrate the completion of the project, but to honor the resilience of their community and the enduring partnership she shared with Mayor Hall, who watched from home, recovering. The ceremony was more than a ribbon cutting. It was a poignant moment of reflection and affirmation for Claudia, Mayor Hall, and the entire city. As Claudia addressed the crowd, her words resonated deeply, weaving together the threads of their many battles, victories, and the collective journey of growth and resilience. In the weeks that followed, Claudia and Mayor Hall decided to take a step back from the forefront of their public roles, choosing to focus on Mayor Hall's health and passing on their responsibilities to the capable hands of their foundation's team. They spent more time in their garden, surrounded by the blooms that were much like the community they had nurtured, a vibrant testament to their life's work. Their legacy, now firmly rooted in the city's fabric, continued to inspire and guide. Just as the garden they cherished continued to thrive under the careful tending of the next generation. Their journey of service had woven a tapestry rich with the colors of determination, compassion, and unwavering love, leaving an indelible mark on the city and its people. As Claudia and Mayor Hall settled into a quieter life, the community project they had fought so hard for flourished, becoming a hub of activity and symbol of urban renewal. But just when it seemed like their legacy was cemented, a mysterious envelope arrived at Claudia's doorstep late one evening. Inside were documents alleging that the environmental risks initially reported were not only known by certain city officials long before the public revelation, but were intentionally ignored for financial gains. Shocked by the allegations and the potential betrayal within her trusted circle, Claudia felt a resurgence of her old fire. Determined to uncover the truth and protect the integrity of their life's work, she decided to come out of retirement, setting the stage for a dramatic return to the public sphere. The documents hinted at a deeper corruption linked to a shadowy network of businessmen and politicians, suggesting that the fight they thought they had won was just part of a larger battle. Motivated by a fierce desire to defend the community and the values she and Mayor Hall had always stood for, Claudia began assembling a team of old allies and new experts. This team was diverse, featuring young tech-savvy activists, seasoned legal advisors, and investigative journalists. Together, they planned to delve deeper into the conspiracy, prepared to expose the corruption that threatened their city's progress. As Claudia's comeback became public, the community rallied behind her with renewed vigor, their support amplified by the intrigue and urgency of the unfolding scandal. The city buzzed with anticipation as Claudia's team uncovered layers of deceit, each discovery leading them closer to the powerful culprits. The climax of their investigation coincided with a massive rally in the city center, where Claudia was scheduled to reveal the findings and lay out their course of action. As she stepped up to the podium, the gathered crowd fell into a hushed silence, eager to hear her speak. Claudia looked out over the sea of faces, her resolve strengthened by their support. "Today, we stand on the brink of a crucial battle," Claudia began, her voice echoing across the crowd. "The challenges we face are significant, but they are not insurmountable. Together, we have uncovered truths that many wanted to remain hidden. We have shown that our commitment to justice and transparency is unyielding. But let me be clear, this is not the end. No, my friends, this is just the beginning." The crowd erupted into cheers, their spirits lifted by Claudia's words, and their resolve hardened. Social media lit up with discussions and debates. Videos of her speech spread like wildfire, and the community's anticipation for what was next reached new heights. As the video of the rally ended, a message appeared on the screen. What do you think will happen next? Share your thoughts, share this video with friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates. The story of Claudia and our city is far from over, and we need your support to continue this journey. Stay tuned because all of this is just the beginning.